Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air, what's being called a crippling, catastrophic winter storm set to hit. The major storm will stretch about 2,000 miles, heavy snow, ice, freezing rain, and brutal cold from Texas and Oklahoma right across the south, then moving east into the Carolinas and right up into the Northeast. Tonight, the watches already up at this hour. Forecasters warning tens of millions of Americans to take this seriously. Concerns tonight over heavy ice, power outages, major travel disruptions. Lee Goldberg is standing by with the forecast. Also breaking tonight, President Trump on the world stage, the turnaround on Greenland, emerging from a meeting with what he called the concept of a deal. He's asked, does it still mean the U.S. will own Greenland? The long pause and how he answers. Rachel Scott is there. Also breaking tonight, the tense moments with federal agents across the country. Tonight in Los Angeles, an agent opening fire. In Minneapolis, protesters confronting the Border Patrol commander. Agents firing pepper spray and tear gas. The scene, an armed agent entering a restaurant, people eating, his gun drawn. And in Maine tonight, agents now going door to door. Tonight, breaking his silence, we hear from the judge. He and his wife shot through their front door. There had been a knock. They were told, "We have your dog." How they're doing, what he reveals. Tonight, just outside New York City, surveillance video showing thieves wielding sledgehammers, stealing more than $1 million in merchandise. Tonight, the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, the House Oversight Committee voting to hold former President Bill Clinton and Secretary Hillary Clinton in contempt of Congress for defying their subpoena. Ghislaine Maxwell will reportedly take the fifth before the committee. The American chess grandmaster, 29 years old, a huge following, and tonight his cause of death now revealed. The big surprise tonight from Wheel of Fortune's Vanna White. America Strong, the dog that went blind while its owner was overseas serving this country. They were unsure what she would do when he returned. You have to see this. We also have alarming news just in tonight about flu deaths in this country, what they're seeing in the numbers, and the study out, the vitamin that can help fight off the flu.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It's great to have you with us here on a Wednesday night. We do begin tonight with what forecasters are now warning will be a potentially catastrophic, crippling winter storm about to hit multiple states across the south, the east, and right up into the northeast. The massive system expected to stretch 2,000 miles, tens of millions of Americans already under alert for heavy snow, ice, freezing rain, and brutal cold. This will move through Oklahoma, Texas, across the south, right into the Carolinas before reaching right up into the northeast. There are watches already up tonight. They are talking of more than a foot of snow and ice in some places that rarely see this. It comes amid heavy snow already. Drivers near Buffalo, New York, wind chills in the teens and 20s from Minneapolis to New York to Maine. And tonight, with this new and massive storm set to hit, major airlines already, including Delta and United, issuing travel waivers for passengers ahead of the storm. There's real concern that with this ice, there could be significant power outages with these brutal temperatures moving in. Lee Goldberg has the forecast. He'll take us through this day by day. And ABC's Stephanie Ramos leading us off with the warnings from authorities already tonight.
Tonight, the National Weather Service warning millions to prepare for what could be the most crippling storm in years. The system, fueled by Gulf moisture from the south and supercharged by some of the coldest air of the season, will stretch some 2,000 miles. It will bring feet of snow and ice to millions. Airlines already waiving rebooking fees, anticipating chaos at the airports. Dallas bracing for days of bitter cold.
We're talking freezing temperatures for at least 60 to 65 hours consecutively. That means the weekend will be freezing.
This massive system coming on the heels of a fast-moving clipper that brought snow squalls to western Pennsylvania. Travel treacherous. Vehicles flipping on their sides. West of Boston, a 4-alarm house fire in Oakham claiming one man's life. Firefighters battling single-digit temperatures, freezing hoses, and icy conditions. Overnight, major lake-effect snow south of Buffalo. Some 60 vehicles involved in a series of crashes on Interstate 90, the scene stretching 6 miles. And new dash camera video from that 100-plus vehicle pileup in Zeeland, Michigan, showing there was no escape. The driver moving toward the median, trying to get out of the way. But the chain reaction crashes were all around him. David, the storm is headed all the way here to the northeast. And tonight, the National Weather Service is warning everyone, especially all across the south, to prepare for power outages and to take this very seriously. David.
Yeah, they're about to see conditions they are not used to. Stephanie Ramos leading us off. Thank you. Let's get right to WABC Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg, who's going to carefully take us through this tonight. This is massively.
It is a far-reaching storm, David, and can bring a large part of our country to a halt over the weekend. Now, we're already seeing those winter storm watches from New Mexico all the way to North Carolina, and that's from a window from later Friday into the day on Saturday when the brunt is going to be felt. We're going to start to see the big snows and ices start to develop Friday afternoon, Amarillo and the snow, and you can see Lubbock over to Shreveport and the ice that goes from the mid-south into the mid-Atlantic as we go into Saturday. Then this storm moves to the East Coast and redevelops, and we're analyzing it on multiple computer models. Figure our American model has a big swath of snow, the heavy snow in the I-95 corridor, while the European model says, no, we're going to mix a little bit along the coast and maybe some lower totals. But either way, you're talking about significant totals, a high probability of 6 inches or more from the southern plains all the way into the I-95 corridor. We'll keep through it every step of the way. We'll tell you what the forecast is doing. David?
It really depends on where that line ends up. Lee Goldberg with us here tonight. Lee, thank you. The other major story tonight, what appears to be a major turnaround on Greenland. President Trump on the world stage in front of America's allies today. The president with scathing words for them at times, then later emerging from a meeting, the president claiming they had just reached a deal, a concept of a deal, he later said. He was asked, does it still mean the U.S. will own Greenland? His long pause and what he then said. Rachel Scott from Switzerland tonight.
Tonight, a remarkable turnaround. After weeks of declaring the U.S. must own Greenland, President Trump now backing off his threats to take Greenland by force and slap hefty tariffs on European allies standing in his way. The president announcing he had reached a, quote, framework of a deal with the Secretary General of NATO. But when asked if it means the U.S. will now own Greenland, he wouldn't say.
Does it still include the United States having ownership of Greenland like you said you wanted?
It's a long-term deal. It's the ultimate long-term deal. I think it puts everybody in a really good position, especially as it pertains to security and minerals and other minerals.
It came just hours after President Trump told a crowd of international leaders he would not use the military to seize Greenland.
We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay? Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force.
In his winding speech, the president heaping scorn on Europe.
Without us, most of the countries don't even work.
Attacking European leaders for uniting in support of Denmark, which owns Greenland and says it's not for sale. President Trump's threat to impose tariffs on NATO allies causing the Dow to plunge 870 points yesterday, a drop he acknowledged today in comments where he repeatedly confused Greenland with the country of Iceland.
They're not there for us on Iceland, that I can tell you. I mean, our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland. So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money.
By the end of the day, the president dropping his tariff threat too, when he announced that framework of a deal. But President Trump providing no specifics, later referring to the framework as a concept.
Well, we have a concept of a deal. I think it's going to be a very good deal for the United States, also for them.
And David, we're still waiting for a lot of details here, but it's clear whatever is in this framework, it does not include the United States owning Greenland. Tonight, Denmark says it's time to sit down to address America's security concerns in the Arctic, while also respecting the red lines of the Kingdom of Denmark. David.
Rachel Scott traveling with the president. Rachel, thank you. There was yet another breaking story as we're on the air tonight. Here's Melissa Adon.
David, tonight, a Texas jury finding former Uvalde school police officer Adrian Gonzales not guilty of abandoning the children inside Robb Elementary during the crucial first minutes of the rampage. Families crying in the courtroom. Prosecutors argue he failed to confront the shooter as he gunned down 19 students and 2 teachers. But Gonzales' lawyers argued he is just a scapegoat, that he never saw the shooter. The defense pointing out that other officers had a chance to kill the gunman and warned that a guilty verdict would have a chilling effect on officers who respond to the next school shooting. David.
Melissa, thanks. The tense moments with federal agents across the country. In Los Angeles, an agent opening fire. Authorities say a suspect trying to get away. In Minneapolis, protesters confronting the Border Patrol commander. Agents then firing pepper spray and tear gas. And the scene at a restaurant, an armed agent entering, people eating, his gun drawn. And in Maine tonight, agents now going door to door. ABC's Matt Rivers again tonight here.
Tonight, shots fired during a federal immigration raid near Compton, California. DHS saying an agent opened fire after a suspect tried to ram officers with his car, a bullet piercing the windshield. No one was hit. Officials say the suspect was caught after trying to run away. DHS saying he was in the country illegally, accused of human smuggling. It comes 2 weeks to the day after the deadly ICE shooting of Renee Good in Minneapolis, where tensions remain high. Protesters confronting Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Greg Bovino here in Minneapolis today, surrounding his convoy, preventing agents from entering several convenience stores. Agents firing pepper spray and tear gas, smoke filling the streets. Several people arrested. And new video showing a federal agent walking into a restaurant in St. Paul Monday while people were eating, gun drawn. The restaurant owner claiming the agent said he was looking for a kid, a surveillance camera catching someone running past the restaurant moments before the agent arrived. We reached out to DHS for comment. And tonight, ICE launching new operations in Maine. Federal agents going door to door in Lewiston, saying they're searching for 1,400 targets accused of multiple crimes. City leaders in Portland pushing back today.
While we respect the law, we challenge the need for a paramilitary approach to the enforcement of federal statutes.
And David, back here in Minneapolis after those chaotic protests we saw earlier today, we are expecting more protests tomorrow when Vice President J.D. Vance comes to town for a visit. He's expected to address the situation and take questions from reporters. David?
Matt Rivers live in Minneapolis tonight. Matt, thank you. This evening we are for the first time hearing from the judge in Indiana. He and his wife were shot and wounded at their front door. They had been told by someone, "We have your dog." Tonight the manhunt still underway, and this new message now from the judge. Here's Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, the hunt for the person who shot an Indiana judge and his wife intensifying with no clear indication of motive or who the suspect might be. This is we get word today that Indiana Judge Stephen Meyer and his wife Kimberly are improving, with the judge releasing a statement expressing his gratitude for the outpouring of support from friends, the community, court colleagues, and law enforcement. In a frightening encounter Sunday afternoon, the couple were wounded by a shotgun-wielding assailant who fired through their front door.
They advised there was a knock on the door. Someone advised, "We have your dog," and then a shot came through the door.
Police have offered few other details other than a shotgun shell casing was found on the front porch. But tonight, the judge sounding resilient and suggesting he'll be back on the bench, saying, "I remain confident we have the best judicial system in the world, and I am proud to be part of it." There is still no word tonight on whether the attack was tied to the judge's work, and police have yet to release any details about a possible suspect. David?
Our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas tonight. Pierre, thank you. This evening, the alarming scene just outside New York City. Surveillance video showing thieves wielding sledgehammers, stealing more than $1 million in merchandise. Here's our Chief Investigative Correspondent, Adrian Katersky.
Tonight, police on both coasts are looking for thieves behind these smash-and-grab burglaries, targeting luxury jewelry and handbags. 4 intruders were seen on this video hammering their way into Gustavo Oro jewelry shop in Jersey City, New Jersey. Seconds later, they're smashing the jewelry cases and making off with what the owner said was more than $1 million in merchandise.
They came with a laundry bag. They just took it and put it in, really 3 minutes.
It happened last week just before closing time. 3 employees were inside. They bolted out the back door while the thieves wiped out the store.
We're doing inventory now. I would say at around 1.2, 1.1, everything. They took everything.
And in Newport Beach, California, on Sunday, 3 burglars kicked their way into the Bella, Abby, and Ava boutique and started stuffing garbage bags with luxury handbags. $200,000 worth of merchandise gone in minutes.
They went right to the Chanel's, they wiped out all of those, then they grabbed all the Hermes, and then they just started throwing things down.
After each of these burglaries, David, the owners told us they had taken security measures they thought would protect their stores. No arrests in either case. David?
Aaron Katersky with us. Thank you, Aaron. Tonight, House lawmakers investigating the Jeffrey Epstein case advancing contempt of Congress proceedings against former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. The House Oversight Committee says the Clintons have refused to comply with the subpoena. That sets up a contempt vote in the House. Their lawyer tonight arguing the Clintons have no relevant information for the committee. The panel also set to question Epstein co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell on February 9th. Her lawyer saying she will plead the Fifth. When we come back tonight, the man who allegedly posed as a pilot and flight attendant for years, allegedly getting on hundreds of planes, free flights, now under arrest. Also tonight, the American chess grandmaster, 29 years old, a huge following. And this evening here, his cause of death just now revealed. The warning tonight from the FDA about recalled tuna that poses a deadly botulism risk. We'll have more on that in a moment. Also, the big surprise tonight for Wheel of Fortune's Vanna White, what she's revealed, and America Strong right here. The dog that went blind while its owner was serving overseas. They were unsure what she would do when he returned. You have to see this in a moment here. Tonight, a Canadian man accused of posing as a commercial pilot and a flight attendant in order to get on hundreds of flights has been arrested now. The suspect, Dallas Pekornik, indicted on federal wire fraud charges in Hawaii. Prosecutors say he used fake IDs in order to request seats on several airlines for years. His lawyer declining to comment tonight. This evening, we have news on the flu. Pediatric flu deaths are rising in this country, doubling week to week, according to the CDC. At least 32 children have died so far this season. There were 289 pediatric deaths in all of the last flu season. According to the CDC, 90% of those children were not vaccinated. This also comes after the CDC recently dropped its recommendation on flu shots for children. Tonight, the cause of death reportedly revealed now for 29-year-old American chess grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky. According to the Charlotte Observer, he died of an accidental drug overdose back in October. Authorities found reportedly a dangerous combination of drugs in his system, including meth. Naroditsky had a massive following online. He became a grandmaster while he was still in high school. When we come back on the broadcast tonight, the big surprise this evening from Wheel of Fortune's Vanna White. And the study out with those new headlines tonight on the flu, the vitamin that can help fight off the flu in a moment here. To the index of other news tonight, a warning this evening from the FDA regarding cans of tuna recalled nearly a year ago because of a deadly botulism risk. Officials say some of those recalled 5-ounce cans of Geneva yellowfin tuna were actually mistakenly shipped out by a supplier this week to grocery stores in 9 states. All have a best used by date of January 2028. We do have more on our website for you tonight. A recent study finding people with healthy levels of vitamin D may have better protection against the flu and other respiratory illnesses. Researchers studied 36,000 British adults, finding those with severe vitamin D deficiency were 33% more likely to be hospitalized with a respiratory illness. The findings published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Tonight, Vanna White tying the knot. White and longtime partner John Donaldson revealing the news on Instagram, saying they've been in love for more than a decade. They recently decided to make it official at a private ceremony, now sharing this new chapter with everyone. Congrats, Vanna. When we come back tonight, the dog that went blind while its owner was overseas serving this country. They wondered what she would do when he came home. Would she know? In a moment here. Finally tonight here, the service member and the bond with his dog. America Strong. Tonight in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Hi, sweet girl.
This is Weatherby, an 8-year-old black lab wagging her tail. Her owner, a U.S. service member, about to return from his overseas deployment. The dog went blind while he was away, and they were unsure if she would know it was him. Air Force Technical Sergeant Blake Crow, deployed for months in the Middle East, missing Weatherby, and of course his wife, Ashley. Technical Sergeant Crow adopted Weatherby while stationed away when she was just 8 weeks old. Their bond immediate, side by side at the park, in the leaves, in the water, the snow. 8 years later, on his latest deployment, his wife noticed something, that Weatherby suddenly seemed timid and began to bump into things. Their vet would reveal that Weatherby was diagnosed with a rare eye condition causing sudden and permanent blindness. So when Technical Sergeant Crow got home from his deployment, they wondered how she would react. And watch the moment. Weatherby hears something, turns to the front door hallway, her tail wagging, and then Technical Sergeant Crow walks in. Immediately she walks over, sniffing. She knew he was home.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa, Tinkerson.
Oh my goodness.
A hug.
Yes.
And right here tonight.
Hi, David.
Technical Sergeant Crow, Ashley, and Weatherby together again.
She's still the same girl. She's just blind.
She's remained confident and just so resilient through all this. And you definitely don't need sight to know that you're loved.
Tonight, the remarkable reunion and the dog who knew Dad was home. Dogs sure do know, don't they? And Blake, glad you're home, and thank you for your service. I'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.